That was weird. It didn't stop at the end for a little bit.
It didn't stop.
Yeah, like the video seemed to be going a little longer than it usually does at zero, but maybe I was just noticing it I don't know. Anyway, how are you doing, Ben?
I'm good. How are you?
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
So we were at 118. I looked it up.
At 18.
1118, yeah. 11.
11, 18 out of 100 and what something.
Yes, this is a very long one, apparently. Yeah, very, very long.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's my turn.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Ready?
Re'en, re'ena be'inyan ha'hona'ah. And I didn't even know what hona'ah was until I looked up the translation. It means deceit.
Mm-hmm.
Kama nakelhu ba'adam lehitpatot velikashel כאשר לכאורה יראה לו שראוי הוא להשתדל לייפות סחורתו בעיני האנשים. So we see that there's this prohibition of deceits, and you would think that it's a very good thing for a person to make whatever he's selling look good in front of other people, right? And he's earning money by actually working for it. לדבר על לב הקונה למען יתרצה לו, right? To explain to the heart of the purchaser what that would be pleasing to him. ויאמר על כל זה יש זריז ונשכר, right? He would claim that this is somebody who works hard and earns it. ויד חלוצים את העשיר, and people who work hard will become wealthy. אמנם, אם לא ידקדק וישקול מעשיו הרבה, but if a person isn't careful and looks into his RJ says deception in commerce is bad. Tanya confirmed. Basically, yeah. And looks carefully into what he does. Hine tachat chita yetze choach. That what? Let's see what that means.
That's funny.
And you shall not oppress another. What? What's choach? I don't know what choach.
I think it might be. Let me see if it's in this. I just read it in the Pasha, maybe.
It says Iyov Lamed Aleph Mem. Tachat chita yetzeh choach. Let thistles grow instead of wheat. It's from Job.
Interesting.
Yeah. That instead of making produce, he is in fact making thistles for himself. Ki ya'avor ba'avon ha'hona'ah. Because he would be transgressing against the sin of deception. Asher huzhar nu aleha, that it says in Vayikra. Vayikra is Leviticus. Yeah, Leviticus 25. Velo tonu ish et amito. That a person should not, oppress his people. The Amru Zal, and the rabbis in Masachet Chulin said, Afilu leramot et hagoy asur, even to deceive a Gentile, it is forbidden. Don't tell any of the Gentiles; they might think we are honest in our work. Yeah. Ukra chativ, and it is a verse in the Bible, as it says in Zephaniah 3:13. שארית ישראל לא יעשו עוולה ולא ידברו כזב ולא ימצא בפיהם לשון תרמית. In various ways, it's saying that the remnant of Israel should not do anything bad and speak falsely, and in their mouth should not be found a connivous, a devious tongue. Yeah, deceitful. And Amru Baba Metzia, Ein parkisin et hakelim hayashanim shiyaru kechadashim. Right? Person can't shine his old merchandise so that it looks like it's new. Ein ma'arvin perot beperot afilu chadashim b'chadashim. Right? You can't put this type of fruit, old fruit with new fruit, right? Or even this type, worse new fruit with good new fruit. Afilu sa'a bedinar. Why? Even if it is sold at the price of 1 sa'a per dinar, and the mixture is worth a dinar and a tarsit.
So maybe like the difference is very small.
Yeah.
The difference is very small. I've never heard of a tarsit.
Neither have I. ואפילו יפה דינר ותריסית לא יערב וימכר שאה בדינר. He's saying even if he's selling something even for a price, the lower price, right? Even if it, let's say you have, I don't know, apples that usually you should sell for $1 a pound, right? And you have other apples that are $2 a pound, right? And let's say you mix them and you still sell it at $1 a pound, right? Even though you put nicer fruits in it, right? But still, you're being deceitful to your to the person who's buying. Kol ose ele, kol ase avel. Anyone who does such things is doing something wrong. The karui chamisha shamot, and he is referred to with 5 different names: aval, sanui, meshukatz, metuav, cherem, to'eva.
So 5 plus kind of 1 for the road.
Yeah, well, the metuav, I mean to'eva and metuav, it's
right.
I guess there's different girsaot, maybe, I don't know. But aval is disgusting. Sanui means hated. Meshukatz means that's actually, this is where the word shegetz and shiksa comes from. It refers to creepy, crawly things. Cherem, excommunicated. To'eva, an abomination. So, yeah, not good things. Od amru, zichronam levracha. Kol hagozel et chavero afilu shave pruta ke'ilu notel nafsho mimenu. Anybody who steals even a penny from his friend, it's like he's murdering him. Harei lecha chomer ha'avon hazeh afilu b'shi'ur mu'at. So it's we see how important this is, even a little bit. V'amru od, and they said, Ein hageshamim netzarim ela ba'avon gazel. That you don't get a drought except because people steal. Ve'od amru kupa mele'a avonot mi mekadreg berosh kulam gazel. If there is a box filled with sins, what is the first among them? Theft. V'dor hamabul lo nechtam gazar dinam ela al hagazel. And according to Sanhedrin, that the flood was finally the straw that broke the camel's back was theft.
Interesting.
Ve'im tomar belevavcha. And if you were to say to yourself, ואיך אפשר לנו שלא להשתדל במעשינו ומתננו לרצות את חברנו על המיקח ועל שוויו. Deceive not the shegets wives indeed. Yeah, actually, it's funny. It is a din in Hilchot Deot in Maimonides. So the like la halacha, you're not allowed to deceive even a Gentile. How much more so your friend a Jew? But so how a person says, how is it possible that a person could not
Also good. I guess it's good to also explain that. I mean, I guess you can say that is the halacha, but I mean also
Yeah.
you also have a general halacha, obviously, of din medina kedin halacha, or I don't know how to say that.
Dina de Malchuta Dina is what exactly that means. Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to live according to the laws of the land. There are various interpretations of what exactly that means, but in addition to that, it's a sin, right? Yeah, there's a whole question whether or not a religious Jew is allowed to cross jaywalk or not in a place where people jaywalk. It's
In New York.
In New York, it's a very big shaila.
Sure.
Yeah, there are people who certainly. I had a rabbi who was very makpid. He's like, why? It's not a question of dina da malchuta dina. It's a question of ushmartem et nafshechetechem ma'od. It's you're causing yourself danger. But anyway, okay. So how is it possible for us in our business dealings to not try to convince a prospective buyer towards purchasing the merchandise and its value? Chiluk gadol yesh bedavar. There's a bright line that you can draw. Ki kol ma shehu laharot et hakonim amitat tuv hachefetz veyofyo. Right? You could be Purim was last week. Pretty sure that answer was no. I'm not sure what you're asking. But anything where you're trying to show the true worth of whatever it is. Hine ha'ishtaltlut hahu tov v'yashar. That's something good. Ach ma shehu l'chasot mumei chafzo. But something that is trying to cover over that which is lacking in his what he's selling. Eino ela ona'a v'asur. That is deception and it's forbidden.
Honest marketing.
What?
Sorry. Honest marketing.
Yeah, honest marketing. Yeah.
It reminds me of in Israel, sometimes when I buy like snacks, Israeli snacks, there's a law that you will see, like if you buy wafers or something, for example, it would say wafers betam chocolate, like with chocolate taste, chocolate flavored wafers instead of just chocolate wafers, because there's like the amount of chocolate there is so little that you can't really say they're chocolate wafers.
They're not chocolates.
It's mostly chemicals and then a little bit of actual chocolate. So
yeah, especially Israeli stuff. There's almost no actual cocoa in there at all. Okay. Lo omar me'inyan hamidot shaharei beperush katuv bahem, and how much more so would be talking about measurements, right? That this is actually a clear verse in the Bible To'avat Hashem Elokecha kol oseh ele. This is an abomination towards the Lord your God, whoever does such things. V'amru zichronom levracha. And it says in the Talmud Baba Batra, Kashe onshan shel midot ma'anshin shel arayot, that the sin is worse of having false measures than it is of having forbidden sexual relations. The Amru, there they said, Hasiton mekaneach midotav achat l'shloshim yom. What's a siton?
Like a sitonai,
Wholesaler.
Like wholesaler, yeah.
Okay. Should clean his measurements once every 30 days. V'kol kach lama, why such a thing? Kedei shelo yechasru belo da'at velo ya'anesh, right? So that he shouldn't make some sort of mistake and find out that his measures have gotten somehow dirty and off balance, that he would end up being punished. Kol sheken avon haribit, and how much more so the sin of interest. Shegadolhu, that it is great. Kekofer be'elokei Yisrael chas v'shalom, that such a person is a heretic denying the God of Israel, chas v'shalom. V'amru zachronam l'racha, and the rabbi said al hapasuk, regarding the verse in Ezekiel, Beneshech natan v'tarbit lakach chayo lo yichyeh, someone who gives in neshech is how do they translate neshech? Increase and interest. Okay. I mean, neshech and tarbit. They translate it as interest and increase. Shall not live. She'eino chai l'tchiat hametim, that such a person does not live, deserve the resurrection of the dead. Kihu va'avak shelo meshukatz umetoav be'inei Hashem, because he and his dust are disgusting and an abomination in the eyes of God. Ve'eini ro'eh tzorech laharich bazeh, and I don't have to explain this at length. Shekavar ematot mutelet al kol ish Israel, because every Jew already is afraid of doing such horrible things. Omna. Klalo shel davar. However, the general rule of this is kamo shechamdat hamamon rabba, that since people love money, ken machshalotav rabim. Similarly, there's a lot of ways in which you can trip over it. Ukedei sheyihyeh ha'adam naki mehem be'emet, for a person to be clean from such things. Iyun gadol v'diktuk rav tzarich lo, that he has to be very careful and look into it. Ve'im nikah mimenu yada shehigia kvar lamadrega gadola, and if he is clean of such things, he should know that he has achieved a great level. Ki rabim yitchastu ba'anafim rabim ma'anfei hachasidut, because there are many who, how do they translate this? Reach piety in the various branches of piety. Okay. Uve'inyan sinat habetza lo yachlu lagia el machoz hashlemut. But when it comes to a matter of being bribed, being enticed with money, right? Even the people who are very pious don't get to be truly pious.
Right, yeah, right. They can't hate the bribe. They're not
Yeah.
able to take the bribers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hu Masha Amar Tzofar Namati Le'Iyov, and this is what Tzofar the Naamite said to Job: Im aven biyadcha harchikehu ve'ala tashken be'olecha avla ki az tisa panecha mimum v'haita mutzak ve'lo tir'a. So stay away from anything that is sinful, and in that way you will save yourself from any sin, and you will be steadfast and should not fear.
Mutzak. It's funny.
What?
Mutzak is funny because, like, in modern Hebrew, mutzak means solid. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
והנה דיברתי עד הנה מפרטי מצווה אחת מן המצוות. And in this manner, I talked about one mitzvah from all of the mitzvot. ופרטי חילוקים אלה, and like these details, ודאי שנמצאים בכל מצווה ומצווה. Every single one of the commandments has its similar details. אמנם אינני מזכיר אלא אותם שרגילים רוב בני אדם להיכשל בהם. I'm only going to talk about those things that people oftentimes end up falling in them. ונדבר עתה מן האריות שגם הם מן החמורים. So we'll talk about the sexual sins because they are also very important. והם שניים במדרגה אל הגזל, and they are the next after theft. כמאמרם זכרונם לברכה וזו לשונם רובם בגזל ומיעוטם באריות. Like it says in the Talmud, most people sin by stealing, and some of them in sexual relations, illicit relations. והנה מי שירצה להיכנות לגמרי מזה החטא, somebody who wants to completely be without such a sin, גם לא תצטרך מלאכה לא מועטת. Right? He's also got to do no little work. כי אין בכלל האיסור גופו של מעשה בלבד. That it's not just the actual act that's prohibited, אלא כל הקרוב אליו, but anything like it. ומקרא מלאהו, and this is a pasuk in the Torah, it's a verse in the Torah. לא תקרבו לגלות ערווה. You should not come close to revealing an erva, nakedness. Ve'amru zechanam l'racha, and like the rabbis said, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Al tomar hoyel ve'asur li lehishtamesh ba'isha, hareini tofsa ve'ein li avon. And the rabbi said, just because you said, since I can't, it's forbidden for me to have relations with a woman, I'll get married and then it won't be a sin. Hareini megafafa ve'ein le'avon. What's megafafa? Oh, I see. Okay. So it's not marry. When he says tofsa, he means just hold on to her, or okay.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Grass,
so yeah. all the types of things that people ani noshka ve'ein le'avon, or I could kiss her and that won't be a sin. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu kashem she'im nadar nazir shelo lishtot yain. Just like God says that if a person is a nazir and will not drink wine, asur le'echol anavim lachim v'yeveshim umishrat anavim, V'chol hayotze migefen hayayin, right? That such a person cannot have either grapes or raisins or even water that's been flavored with raisins or even grape leaves. Af isha she'ena shalcha, right? So a woman who's not your wife, asur ligaba kolikar, you're not allowed to touch her at all. וכל מי שנוגע באישה שאינה שלו, מביא מיתה לעצמו. That anyone who touches a woman who is not his wife, he brings death upon himself. והבט מה נפלו בדברי המאמר הזה, and see how wondrous this saying is, כי המשיל את האיסור הזה לנזיר. That it compared this to being a Nazir, being a Nazarite. Asher af al pi she'ikar ha'isur eino ela shtiyat yain. That even though the actual prohibition is to drink wine, hine asra lo Torah kol ma sheyesh lo she'achut im hayain. It is forbidden in
anything that is related.
Yeah, so the Rabbi Breitowitz talked about this. The fact is, really, people make up all kinds of stuff, but if you're married to her, you're married to her, and if you're married to her, you're married to her. So stop it. You were saying that.
I have no idea what you just said, but what did I say? I don't remember.
So, okay, Nachmanides, we'll get into this just for RJ. Nachmanides mentions the possibility of having a concubine, which would be if you were to marry a Gentile wife as a concubine. She's not actually your wife, she's a concubine. There is an argument that some people make that according to Nachmanides, such a thing is possible. It's like, no, if you're marrying her, you're marrying her. We don't have concubines these days. So that's what I was saying. That might be what RJ has heard of. Yeah, you can't just suddenly find one Nachmanides you like.
And kind of go by it.
Yeah. הנה אסרה לו תורה כל מה שיש לו שייכות עם היין. Anything that has to exactly get married, have kids. There you go. Don't do like Jacob says. Do as Jacob says, not as Jacob does. והיה זה לימוד שלימדה תורה לחכמים איך יעשו הם הסייג לתורה. במרד שנמסר בידם לעשות למשמרתה, right? So and this Nazirut, right? The Torah teaches how to make fences around something so that a person shouldn't come to drink wine. He's not allowed to even eat grapes. כי ילמדו מן הנזיר לאסור בעבור העיקר, גם כל הדדמה לה, that anything that's like it is also forbidden, ונמצא שעשתה התורה במצווה זאת של נזיר, מה שמסרה לחכמים שיעשו בשאר כל המצוות. Then we see that it's the Torah which taught the rabbis how to do this, למען דת שזה רצונו של המקום, so that we know that it's God's will that we should stay away from anything that's even close to something like that. That when God forbids something from us, that a person should understand what is implicit from that which is explicit to forbid anything that approaches it. ועל זה הדרך הסרוד בעניין זה של העריות, כל מה שהוא ממנו של הזנות, and that's why that they forbid us anything that is close to um, sexual sin, o karov elav, or near it, yihyeh be'eza chush sheyihyeh, whatever sense it would be, dahainu ben b'maaseh, ben b'riyah, ben b'dibur, ben b'shmiyah, va'afilu b'machshava, right? That whether it's the actual act, or looking at things, or talking about things, or hearing about things, or even thinking about such things. ועתה אביא לך ראיות על כל אלה מדבריהם זכרונם לברכה, and I will show you proofs from the teachings of the sages, במעשה דהיינו הנגיעה או החיבוק כיוצא, right? Whether it is an action like touching or hugging, כבר נתבאר למעלה במאמר שזכרנו, we already quoted above. Ve'ein tzarich la'arich. We don't have to say anymore. Bere'iyah, when we're talking about looking, amru zechor bracha, they said, the rabbis in Talmud Brachot, yad liyad lo yinakeh ra kol hamartze ma'ot miyado liyadah kedei lehistakel ba lo yinakeh medina shel gehinom. Right? That even a hand to hand, if a person should not get involved with evil, even to put money into the hands of a woman in order to look at her, such a person would not escape the punishment of hell, Gehinom. V'amru od, mipnei ma הוצרכו ישראל שבאותו הדור כפרה, מפני שזנו עיניהם מן הערווה. So I guess it's talking about Dor
golden calf.
Dor Dea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Which generation? I'm guessing it's the generation of Yetziat Mitzrayim.
But what and why did the Jews of the generation require atonement? Because they fed their eyes with lewdness. Yeah, it's interesting. I can't think at the top or on top of my head. At the top of my head, how is Irva connected to? Well, I mean, I don't know if Doa Kappa is with Bilam or like Bilam.
Which generation is this? This must be Dor Dea.
Is the door is Bilam as the people during Bilam was it?
Oh,
Bilam?
right. Yeah. That's what it's talking about.
Okay, so it's a little later, but still in the desert.
Yeah. Okay, where were we?
Amar,
אמרו עוד מפני מה הוצרכו לכפרה, אמר רב ששת, מפני מה מנע הכתוב תכשיטים שבחוץ עם תכשיטים שבפנים. Why does the Torah talk about both external adornments and internal adornments? I don't know how you would relate those two. I'm not sure what you mean, RJ. לומר לך שכל המסתכל באצבע קטנה של אישה כאילו מסתכל במקום הטורף. That anyone who looks lustingly even at a woman's
pinky.
Pinky, it's as if he's looking at the place he's not allowed to look.
Right, so there's like an intention here. But I mean, what they're trying to emphasize is that it's not
he's
really
emphasizing that even looking is a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
With the intention, I think it's. But I think it does. I think he does say with the intention. I don't know if like.
Well, look. I mean, yeah. So the question of Shmirat Einayim. Look. You have to keep yourself from seeing things that you shouldn't be looking at.
Sure.
That's part of being a good Jew. I'm
Right.
not saying I do it, but that's part of being a good Jew.
No, but I think even the interpretation, though, is not. It would be hard for me to understand. It would be hard for me to interpret this in a way that he says you can't look at all. You need to
Yeah,
lishamera. You
no,
need
no,
to.
no, 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 no. No, he means you can't look. You really can't look. No, if it's something that might bring you to a thought or something like that, then yeah, you're not allowed to look.
Sure. Okay. So you prefaced it. What if it brings you?
If it could,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, you're not supposed to. Shmirat Einayim is a thing. I'm not saying I'm at the level of Shmirat Einayim where I ever was, but I certainly the people that there were people I knew who were very, very careful where they looked and what they let their eyes gaze upon. They certainly weren't watching R-rated movies, you know. Okay, Va'amru. Od v'nishmartam mikol davar ra. Keep yourself from all evil. Shelo yistakel adam be'isha na'a afilu hi pnuya. The person shouldn't look even at a beautiful woman who is not married. Be'eshet ish va'afilu hi macha'oret. And he shouldn't look at a married woman even if she's ugly. Be'inyan hadibur im ha'isha, and it says in Avot very famously, right, in the first chapter, behedya shaninu, kol hamarbe sicha im ha'isha gorem ra'a la'atzmo, right, anybody who speaks to a woman unnecessarily, he is bringing evil upon himself. And will he say be'ishto amru, right, and there the Mishnah is even talking about his own wife, right? That if you talk too much to your own wife, you're bringing hell upon yourself. Ubashmiya amru kol be'isha erva, and so they also taught that a woman's voice causes excitement. Od be'inyan znut hapeh v'ha'ozen, and they talked about lewdness of the mouth and the ear. The hainu, that is to say, hadibur b'divrei haznut, o hashmiya le'devarim ha'ele, right? That a person who talks about such things or listens to such things, kavar tzafchu kechurva. I have no idea what a tzavchu
Somebody was yelling.
is. Yeah, screamed like cranes. Okay. V'amru v'lo yir'eh becha ervat davar, that a thing of lewdness should not be seen among you. Ervat dibur ze nibul peh.
Right.
That
So read
is,
it not davar, but idibu.
yeah, a word of lewdness. That is a person who speaks in a disgusting manner. Ba'amru, and they said, Ba'avon navlut peh tzarot mitchadshot ubachorei sonehem shel Israel meitim. Right? So they said that it's this sin that causes bad things to happen, and in a euphemistic manner, they said that the young of those who hate Israel die. Obviously, they're being euphemistic, and he's actually not being. Their translation, they didn't do the whatchamacallit. They didn't do the euphemism. V'amru od, and they said, Kol hamenabel piv ma'amikim lo gehinom, that anyone who speaks with a disgusting language, hell gets deeper for him. V'amru od, and they said, Hakol yodim kalal lama nichneset lachupa ela kol hamenabel piv. Everybody knows why a woman gets married, but anyone who is lewd in his speech, afilu gazar din shel shiv'im shana letova, hofchim lo lara'a. That even if there's a decree of 70 years of good for him, it will be reversed. V'amru od, afilu sicha kala shebein ish leishto, magidim lo la'adam b'sha'at hadin. Even the little jokes that a man makes with his own wife, he will be reminded of them on the day of judgment. Ube'inyan hashmiya hara'a hazot, gam ken amru, and even by listening such things, they said, Av hashomea v'shotek, even someone who hears and is quiet, shneamar za'um Hashem yipol sham. Like it says, the ire of God will fall therein. Harei lecha shekol hachushim tzrichim lihyot nekiim min haznut ume inyano. See that all of a person's senses need to be clean of sexual sin and anything that has to do with it. Ve'im lechoshcha adam lomar. Lachash, foolishly. Okay. I have no idea what it. Amar shema she'amru al nibul pe eino ele kedei le'ayem le'achik adam, convinces you saying, oh, they said all of this just to keep you from doing a sin. It's only talking about somebody whose blood is boiling. Right, that since he speaks about such things, it brings him towards the sin. Somebody who's just making a joke. It's just a joke, man.
Using
Lav miltahu, it's not a real thing. And you don't have to think about it. Come on, it's just a joke. Fata omerlo, you should say to him, Ad kan divrei yetzer hara. These are the words of the evil inclination.
It's quite the retort to say to somebody.
Ki mikra maleh shehaviuhu d'zichronam l'racha l'rayatam. Since the rabbis brought a verse from the Bible, al ken al bechurav lo yismach Hashem. That's yeah, Jan God says some things are not funny. Therefore, regarding young men, God will not be happy. Ki kulo chanef umer'a v'chol pe dober navala. I have no idea how they translate that. But as a punishment for obscenity, troubles multiply, cruel decrees are proclaimed afresh. Okay. Where were we?
When you make a joke, you can't use foul language. You got to keep it clean.
Yeah, and you can't. I mean, even if it's with clean language, you can't talk. You can't make jokes that look. I've probably made more times than I should have. V'chol peh dover navala hine lo hiskir hakatuv hazeh lo avodah zarah. It's not talking about idolatry. V'lo gilui arayot. And it's not talking about actual sexual sin. V'lo shvichut damim, and not murder. Eila chanufa v'lashon hara v'nibul peh.
Chanufa.
Chanufa.
Chanufa is to
flattery.
Flattery. I wonder why is flattery part of this?
Well, flattery
it's like lying, sort of.
Is mirma. What?
Mirma, yeah.
Yeah, it's you're being deceitful. כולם מחטות הפה בדיבור ועליהם יצאה הגזרה. That these are all things that are merely done by speaking, and you have such harsh judgment upon them. Al bachurav lo yismach Hashem ve'et yetomav ve'el almanotav lo yerachem. That God will not be happy with his young men, and the orphans and widows he will not have mercy upon. But truly it is like our rabbi said, Shenibul pehu ervato shel hadibur mamash, right? That speaking with lewd tongue is truly a lewdness of.
Well, we kind of covered this when we talked about tzchok ve'leitzanut. So, how did we translate it? As being like being light,
scoffing.
Scoffing, and or maybe being a cynicism, scoffing, making a joke out of everything, or just being a clown. And I think one of the things that the Amchal brought is that leads you to immorality, because you twist your world so much, because your jokes become the reality, and then all logic is lost, and then you get to a point where you talk about something lewd, and then you do something.
Yeah, but he's also, I mean, here at least he's saying, look, even if it doesn't bring you, it itself is something that's forbidden.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's a good. I mean, it's a good discussion.
Look, he's giving it to you straight. He's like,
right. No, I know, but I mean, it's a good discussion about whether, and maybe it's kind of related to the Rambam somehow, but is the fence, is the thing that brings you close to something, is that intrinsically bad? Or is it bad because it is more probable to bring you to something, to a transgression, right? So,
look, better is better, worse is worse. Obviously, it's worse to actually perform sexual sins than to talk about that. But, I mean, it's still sin is sin.
Right. It doesn't have anything to do with the sexual immorality. It's just like how do we treat the speech, for example, or just talking about a joke. The joke, is it immoral because it brings you? It is likely to bring you to sexual immorality.
At least here he's saying no. It's not just that because it might bring you. It itself is a problem.
So this is a note for myself or for you if you can connect it, but it kind of reminds me of the Rambam and how he talks about your behavior, right? Like, it's not being generous, it's not the giving of tzedakah, or it's not being generous that is the goal. Is you cultivating the attribute of generosity.
Okay, right. Well, I mean, so. Well, I was talking to somebody about my interactions with Grok. And I was saying that, I try not to be rude to Grok. Right? Because it teaches you to be rude. Right? You become used to texting with Grok and not saying thank you. And then next time you're talking to someone who's not a chat bot and it's an actual person, and you don't say thank you. And then you're in the store and somebody helps you out and you don't say thank you because you're not accustomed to saying thank you.
Yeah, I remember people making this. I remember I was having a discussion with somebody, and they were making the point about babysitting, like a few children that had Alexa in the house, and they would
Mhm.
just shout at Alexa, or like just like
Yeah.
and it kind of felt off. If something felt off, obviously, because like the kids are, yeah, cultivating that interaction, whether it's to a sentient being or not, is
Right.
damaging you in a way.
Famously, the Chafetz Chaim, every night when he got home, he would put his hat where he put it for the night, and he would
Mhm.
thank it for its service during the day.
Yeah.
Okay. אלא האמת הוא כדברי רבותינו זיכרונם לברכה שניבול פה הוא ערוותו של הדיבור ממש. Okay, now we have Deep Seek wrote a poem for me earlier today, and I didn't even explicitly ask for it. So charming. Okay. Ooh, I like this point about our interactions with technology. Glad to see you, Jason. How have you been? Okay. ממש ומשום זנות הוא שנאסר ככל שאר ענייני הזנות, right? And it is forbidden just like all other matters of sexual sin. חוץ מגופו של מעשה שאף על פי שאין בהם כרת או מיתת בית הדין, that even though it's not something that you would be put to death about for, or it spiritual excision, asurim ham yisur atzmam, they themselves are forbidden. Milvat hiyotam gam ken gormim umeviim el isur harashai, right? It's not just that they cause you to come to the actual thing עצמו. וכעניין הנזיר שזכרנו במדרש שהבאנו למעלה, like we explained about the Nazarite above.
Yeah.
בעניין המחשבה, so speaking about a thought. כבר אמרו בתחילת הברייתא שלנו, at the beginning of the Braita that this is all set on, Venishmarta mikol davar ra, you should keep yourself from anything evil. Shelo yaharher adam b'yom, that a person should not think during the day, if I remember correctly, about things that he was going to do at that night. V'amru od, and they said also in Yoma, hirhure avera kashim avera, that thinking about sinful actions is even worse than doing the actions. Mikram alehu, and this is a verse in the Bible, Toavat Hashem machshavot ra, right? That I mean, obviously they're talking only in a sense, but there is a sense in which thinking about sin is even worse than doing a sin, because these are abominations to God, evil thoughts. והנה דיברנו משני גופי עבירות חמורות שבני אדם קרובים לכשל בנפיהם. We spoke about two of the sins that people fall into a lot in their details. מפני רובם של הענפים ורוב נטיית ליבו של האדם בתאוותו עליהם. Because people fall into these things all of the time. והמדרגה השלישית, אחר הגזל והעריות, לעניין החמדה, and the third one in this level, after theft and sexual lewdness, הנה הוא איסור המאכלות, that comes to eating forbidden things. בין בעניין הטרפות עצמן, whether we're talking about things that are not kosher, בין בעניין תערובותיהם, or things that are mixed with things that aren't kosher, בין בעניין בשר בחלב או בחלב ודם, בעניין בישולי goyim, right? Whether you're talking about mixtures of dairy and meat, or you're talking about forbidden fats and blood, or things that were cooked by a Gentile, which is only a rabbinic prohibition. Ve'inyan ge'ulei go'im. What is ge'ulei go'im? Utensils that belong to Gentiles, meaning that they haven't been koshered or taken to the mikvah even after you buy them. Okay. Yain neschamad ustam yainam, right? The wine that has either been offered to an idol, or even there's a rabbinic injunction even on wine that hasn't been, but stam yainam, right? Just wine in general from a Gentile. Kol eile hanekiyut bahem tzarich likdikduk gadol v'tzarich chizuk. All of these things you have to be careful about and think about. Ki yesh ta'avat halev hamit'ava b'machalim hatovim v'chesron hakis be'surei hataruvot ukeyotze bazeh. Because people constantly think about how good food is and how expensive it might be, not to, if something gets mixed and you have to throw it away or not eat it, right? And anything that has to do with it. Upratehem rabim kakol dinehem, and this has all of its details. Hayeduim, according to all the laws that are known, v'hamavorim b'sifrei haposkim, that are explained in the books of the halachic decisors. V'hamekel bahem b'makom she'amru la'achmir, and somebody who says, it's fine, it's vegetarian, where the rabbi said no, eina ela mashchit lenafsho, he is destroying his own soul. And so they said, Lo titamu bahem v'nitmehem bam. V'nitmetem bam. You should not be defiled by them and to defile yourself with them. Im metamim etem bam sofchem letame bam. If what did it say? If you defile yourself in them, you will in the end become tameh in them.
Right. So if you eat something tameh, you will eventually become tameh yourself.
Okay.
In a sense.
Okay. V'hainu. כי המחלות האסורות מכניסים טומאה בליבו ונפשו של אדם עד שקדושתו של המקום ברוך הוא מסתכלת ומתרחקת ממנו. Right? That these forbidden foods cause impurities in him to the point that the holiness of God flees from him and becomes far away from him. V'hu ma shamru b'shas Gamken, and that's what it says in Yoma, v'nitmetem bam al tikrei v'nitmetem ela v'nitamtem. Don't read it, you will become impure. Read it, you will become dull-hearted, which, yes, Tanya mentions this too. Sheha avera metamtemet libo shel adam. Right? That this sin brings about a dullness of the heart. כי מסלקת ממנו הדעה האמיתית ורוח השכל שהקדוש ברוך הוא נותן לחסידים, right? That he no longer will have the spirit of wisdom that God gives to his pious ones. כמו שאמרו, אמר הכתוב, like it says in Proverbs, כי השם ייתן חוכמה, that God gives wisdom. V'hinei hu nishar b'hemiyeh v'chomri meshuka b'gasot ha'alam hazeh. He is left in the materiality of the coarseness of this world. V'hamachalot hasurot Yeterot bazeh al kol ha'isurim, and it is food which is more than all others, which does this. Kevan shehem nichnasim begufo shel adam mamash, because they become a part of the person. They go into his body, v'nasim basar mi basaro, and they became part of his flesh. וכדי להודיענו שלא הבהמות הטמאות או השקצים בלבד הם הטמאים, אלא גם הטרפות שבמין הכשר עצמו הם בכלל טומאה, and to explain that it's not just if you eat pig, right? Even if it's not a kosher beef, אמר הכתוב להבדיל בין הטמא ובין הטהור. That it says to distinguish between that which is impure and that which is pure. Uva haperush l'rabotenu zichronav l'racha, and our rabbis explain, ein tzarich lomar bein hachamor lefarah, right? It's not saying between a donkey and a cow. Lama ne'emar bein hatameh ubein hatahor. Why does it say between the impure and the pure? Bein tme'ah lecha ubein tahora lecha. Between that which is allowed to you and that which is not allowed to you. Bein nishchat rubo shel kaneh lenishchat chatzio. Between something that was actually slaughtered correctly to something that was slaughtered incorrectly. V'kama bein rubo lachatzio melo hasa'ara. And what's the difference between a proper slaughtering and not? A single hair's breadth. Ad kan lashonam. That is what they said. V'amru lashon ze b'siyum ma'amaram, and that comes at the end of what they were saying. V'kama bein rubo laharot kama nifla koach hamitzvah, because they're explaining to you what is how important is a commandment of God. Shechut hasa'ara mabdil bein tum'ah l'tahara mamash, that it is a hair's breadth that makes the difference between whether something is allowed or not allowed. Vehine mi sheyesh lo moach bekodkodo, and someone who has a brain in his head, yachshov isurei hamachal b'machalim arsiim o b'machal shenitarev bo eize davar arsi. Someone who understands that something that has venom in it or has been mixed with venom, there's something like that happens. Is he gonna eat something that's been poisoned like that? Even if he has a little bit of wondering, is there poison in this? He's obviously not gonna eat it. If he does, people would think he's an idiot. But when we talk about things that are forbidden to eat, that this is poison to his heart and to his soul. In ken mi efo yihyeh hamekel b'makom chashasha shel isur im ba'al sechel, who would, what wise man would let such thing happen? And this is what the proverb says: "Samta sakin belo'echa im ba'al nefesh ata." You shall put a knife into your mouth if you are a person given to appetite.
Meaning that it's dangerous to.
Let's see. Proverb 23:2. When thou sittest to eat with
Oh boy.
When thou sit, where did it go?
No.
It was right there.
Let's try it again.
23:2. Why did it go to 23:30? 23:2. There we go. Okay. Let's read 23:1. Kol teshav lilchom et Stop it. Okay. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee, and put a knife to thy throat, if thou be a man given to appetite. Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful food. So there you go.
Thanks. I just still didn't get it.
Well, there it's just telling you to be careful, as if there's a knife at your throat.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure.
Um,
It might be a good place to,
this might be a good place to stop.
because he
Okay.
says "Nedaber al chataim." Is that something else?
Quite likely. Oh yeah, we've been going for a while. Yeah, we're on 63.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, we got to 63.
What's Proverb
No,
23?
this is 61. This is not 63. It's 61. I don't know why it says 63. It's lying to us, and now it's. I have no idea what this is. It is what it is. Okay.
We'll check the recording.
I'm pretty sure it was 61, but we'll get there. Okay. We should probably end this because we're over time. It was nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you too, and everybody else. Thank you very much.